What are dark secrets about the PRN industry that people should know? The dressing room trash cans are full of empty disposable enemas and it smells like farts and sadness in there. It smells like farts and sadness at my job too. A lot of the 18-year-olds in the PRN industry probably were in it when they were younger too. I know a girl who did some PRN and she started doing it when she was only a teenager, except all her PRN videos were labeled 18+. Edit. The grooming and locking. If you've never heard of locking, it's basically when a group of girls doing PRN are living together, typically, and they are pressured to spend their money by producers who claim to be their friends. The goal here is to diminish any sort of saving money thought process, and they make it out like the money will never stop coming. This keeps them broke and making doing more shoots. Edit. Just wanted to say thanks for the upvotes. Hopefully this will be top comment so more awareness gets out. Grooming doesn't stop because they made a few videos. Oh, I also used to drive some exotic dancers 2 or 3 cities to do regular doctor appointments. They never felt safe going local because they always get recognized and people get creepy. Not sure if that counts as PRN industry, but I'd imagine the same rules apply. Many of the 18-year PRN stars were recruited when they were 16 or 17. A lot of actors takes a lot of drugs. Like a lot. Too much blow and the cock won't grow. A trafficked 15-year-old was found on Pornhub. Almost 100 videos. She was verified by Pornhub while trafficked. Child actors from Thailand. Someone tried to kidnap me as a small child in Thailand. Glad my mom fought them off. Hot Girls Wanted. Produced by Rashida Jones. Explores most of the seedy practices discussed in here. If you have any 80s VHS tapes of Tracy Lords, you could potentially be in possession of child pornography. She used fake identification and was 16 when she began filming and may have even been as young as 15. Great. After reading these comments I can no longer watch PRN. The whole tons of Viagra thing is absolutely true, and so is the bit about casting directors playing fast and loose with STDs. I have a friend that once turned down a shoot for a gay PRN at a campground because none of the actors were required to be tested beforehand. A few of them ended up contracting HIV from that shoot. It was once legal in some countries to use children. Child PRN was legal in Denmark until like 1980. It was still illegal to have sex, RP, with children, so the production of hardcore child PRN was illegal, but the product itself was legal to own and sell. Today there is an archive of kiddie PRN at the National Library that can be accessed by researchers with special permission. Imagine being the librarian in charge of that. So what do you do? Oh, I'm a kiddie PRN curator. 1. Amateur homemade 18yo vids are likely not 18. 2. The industry gives no shits about protecting minors. If it were legal they'd go as low as they could. C. Japan. Color Climax. Tracy Lords. Tracy Lords' case is especially despicable due to all the hate she received when it came out she was 16 in her vids and 14 in her pinups. As well as the fact that in 1987 they made a PRN film about her sexual exploitation. 3. Pornhub specifically makes it especially difficult to get minors taken down from the site even if you report multiple times. Several famous minors are actually recommended search terms. 4. Not really the industry. But whenever there's a high profile RP in the news, the victim's name becomes a popular search terms on all sites. Number 4 made me uncomfortable as FCK. Some girls are tricked into filming the video. They're promised to do some modeling, and when they arrive they find out that it's more than just a few pictures. PRN is a big human trafficking industry. Nowhere near as rampant and dangerous as child trafficking, but it's still very active. Came to comment from personal experience. I'm not in the adult entertainment industry, but I booked a boudoir photoshoot a few years back to surprise my boyfriend. And I booked with this amazing photographer. I was RP'd during the photo shoot. A video recorder was on the entire time. That of course captured everything, and the video went to the black market. The photographer was actually deep into sex trafficking. But these traffic rings stay 100 steps ahead at all times. That the police investigation became cold very fast. A lot of the time child pornography slips through the cracks. More often than not, those girls that look 14-16 are actually within that age range, but nobody questions it because age checks don't happen often. So next time you're spanking your bacon to some petite flat-chested teen barely legal shitty, think twice before you nut. That may be a child. That's why I only stick to granny PRN. They, mainly Pornhub. But most sites do it. Turn a blind eye to human trafficking because that rings in over 1/3 of their profits through these homemade videos. The financial structures of the business are remarkable. The amount of money flowing through the industry is huge beyond comprehension. But in the end it ends up in just a few pockets. Companies behind large tube sites are earning the bulk of the money, taking revenue from advertisements, memberships, and producing studios who pay tube sites so said tube sites feature their films on the homepage. Meanwhile, those producers suffer heavily from the terabytes of pirated content which is uploaded daily. Tube sites often refuse to take responsibility for illegal content, said pirated content, but also child PRN, human trafficking, RPay, etc. Common news stating that they are only a platform and that they cannot be held accountable for what individual users upload. Lately there was quite some uproar about the girls do PRN videos. A number of girls appearing in those videos stated that they were drugged and then forced to do things that they would have never agreed on. While this case was in court, some tube sites refused to take those videos offline while users still uploaded those. Does it bother anyone else how abundant the teen and incest stepfamily content is on Pornhub? Edit. I am not into those. Not sure if it's been said yet, but the outdoor or public scenes require permits to shoot. 80% of the time the crew shows up with a police scanner and cheeses it before the cops show up. Edit. Yes folks. There's worse out there than evading paperwork filing costs in the PRN industry. But when posting initially I really expected this to be overlooked. Also, cheese it is an outdated term apparently. A lot of girls get trafficked into PRN or they are coerced into rougher fetishized scenes that they are uncomfortable with but feel they have to perform because they are unsafe, and in some cases they aren't even able to say their safe words. There is a lot of drugs and violence involved. Actresses may be offered drugs like Xanax before a scene, and some have been asked to eat apples so that they can vomit on screen. Injuries may occur, including the woman who left a rough BJ scene and had burst a blood vessel in her eye due to the nature of the shoot. Pornhub actively removes any criticism on Reddit using the admins. You'll receive at minimum 3-day suspension, or perhaps more, just for mentioning that they consistently fail to remove child PRN or non-consensual RPay videos. Just Google Pornhub fail to remove videos. Too many to count. Edit. It's under harassment on the content policy. Often men takes Viagra, Silas and other drugs to stay long. Some of them even takes the drugs with a syringe in their own penis. Most of the cum is a mixed fluid. They take it in an extra camera shot so that it looks normal. Nowadays, it's very similar to a studio style 9-5 job. Nobody is really making a lot of money anymore. I've been in and out of it for about 25 years. It's morphed into this industry where smarter people use pornography to build a brand. The people that were popular 25 years ago wouldn't get far today because they were primarily only interested in getting paid upfront for shooting scenes. If I'm going to do this, I want $300. Those types. So, those people could go out and get paid $600 per film, which was great money back in 2001. Many people busted their asses to make as much content as they could, but there was no residual income after that. So that's why in the late 90s and early 2000s, there were simply so many films. Now, the women are tracking their income on the back end with things like Snapchat and OnlyFans. It's not a cleaner industry by any means. PRN isn't a how-to guide for your own sex life. Wait. You're telling me I shouldn't just unsuspectingly stick it in my sister's butt? The PRN industry is very toxic and the actors are treated very badly. Pornhub has already been directly involved with human traffic of a teenage girl. There were 100 videos of her. She was verified. Pornhub literally supported pedophilia. Should have posted this with a serious tag. No healthcare. A big problem is that PRN scenes are shot in a way to be visually stimulating, but not actually safe. Think of scenes where an actress is made to go full Nelson. There's nothing pleasurable about this position, but it lets you see the girl's entire body and the guy's dick all in one shot. Lots of scenes these days also having choking. So basically you're going to be forced to do painful and potentially dangerous things because they look good on camera. So what happens when you inevitably get hurt? Well, any injuries are considered your fault. You don't get paid any health care. And the studio won't take responsibility for hurting you, even though they forced you to overuse your body. A sad side effect is the amount of guys copying these positions. They don't feel good for the guy or girl, and you'll just hurt your partner. Regular missionary is legitimately one of the most pleasurable positions, yet is avoided for being too boring. Parent star Veronica Rodriguez filmed multiple videos with her real half-sister. They share a father. Yep. That's actual incest. She's messed up. Edit. Those orgasms aren't real. Edit. I can't believe this was my first comment that got so many upvotes and an award. Next you'll be telling me my wife is faking it too. Drugs. Abuse. Lie. And eat hot chip. Turns out that most of those girls are coked methed heroined out of their f-king minds while they take that dick. Those sizes are not natural. And the actors usually don't last an hour. They just edit the shootings they did. Edit. Whoa. My most upvoted comment is about dicks 3 times bigger than mine. Note that. As someone else has pointed out down here. Another big thing, pun intended, is a camera angle. They are shot with the purpose of making the dick look bigger. So watch out with your dick pics. Who even watches for an hour? Give me the 6-minute condensed version. I got tea to do. I think I might be done with real PRN after reading this thread. A lot of people, rightly, bashing Pornhub for their transgressions. Yet no one seems to be mentioning that you're just as likely to find underage girls in a gone wild. And let's not pretend that Reddit is not a part of the PRN industry. Didn't August Ames kill herself because people harassed her and called her a homophobe because she refused to do a shot with a gay man who hadn't been tested for STDs? I mean, I feel like that's pretty well known but still felt like sharing. I don't think people realize just how many videos contain people being trafficked. Edit. Because this has gained much more attention than I anticipated. I'll elaborate some. But I encourage you to research this more. Today, there is an estimated 30 million people that are being trafficked. This is modern day slavery. Children, women, and even men are bought and sold as property for the purposes of being a sex slave, forced labor, or even organ harvesting. It is so repulsive and yet so hidden and unknown. The sad thing is, many children get caught up in this after natural disasters or other tragic situations. For example, with the recent explosion in Lebanon, criminals may set up orphanages that are not registered with the state, and just like that a child can be taken. I learned much of this from a podcast episode with Timothy Owens as a guest on the Candace Owens show. Even if you aren't conservative, this is a good, objective and informative discussion to listen to. Thank you if you read this entire thing. I just felt I needed to use this opportunity to give a voice to the unheard. That if you had sex with a guy and it was uploaded to PH, then you literally have no rights to remove that video. Put Disney music in the background when filming. Some of them are not 18. PRN sites have no real way of verifying users' ages. Which means that they're not even married. The fact most top comments are jokes until one discussing human trafficking, sexual assault, drug abuse and pedophilia really does say a lot about our relationship with PRN and trouble-riddled industries. Follow the Twitter account Fight the New Drug to find out just how sordid this industry is. The woman who has 13 inches of man meat slide into her anus in 4 seconds. Well, she is not an anal virgin after all. A huge number of stars do drugs, including most of the top names. Some enter the industry to pay for their habit. Others use them as numbing agents, especially in anal scenes. Most female stars never orgasm and many have serious psychological issues. Source: Insider Info. That guy was not on a beach. He didn't need bodyguard at all. Male porn stars often inject Viagra-like substances in their dicks, and this is very unhealthy, dangerous. Sometimes, especially in gay PRN. Fake HIV tests are a thing. Because the performer might only be booked for a single shoot. Then paying for a test is going to be a large percent of the overall fee. So they fake it. I'm based in Budapest. For the longest time there was only one lab here to do testing. Though the results of the test were confidential. I took to phoning the lab to simply ask if so and so had actually made the test as they claimed. They would come to work with a badly photoshopped test result. More often than not. Many were lying. Made my head spin. I have 21 years as a PRN producer in Central Europe. That fapping to PRN hijacks your reward system, and once you're addicted to PRN you will search for more and more messed up stuff. Also, getting off PRN is like getting off smoking, but you always have a box of cigarettes in your pocket. I did some work in the PRN industry. I'm from a great family. I had an excellent relationship with my dad. I was in my 20s. I was treated extremely well and enjoyed it immensely. I said no a number of times with no repercussions. Only drank occasionally when I felt like it and was actively discouraged from drug use when working. I have honestly felt more threatened and poorly treated by bar work and not being supported when harassed. I know I'm a minority and I'm very thoughtful when picking what I watch, but I felt the fapping masses might want to know it's not always miserable. We had Christmas parties and watched bloopers. We all laughed till we cried. It was one of the nicest work environments I've had. PRN addiction. It's the worst. Has ruined people's lives and it's difficult to get out of. 1. Many actresses are forced to do more than they signed up for. Of course they are not forced with gun to their head. But with getting paid nothing at all and losing all future contracts and therefore at least some financial stability. 2. No one really cares about condition of female performers. One has reported she had internal bleeding from rough anal. But she got to the hospital only after director decided they were done. 3. Pornhub, and definitely many others, has tons of real life RPs. Inclusive RPs of minors. And only victims and some allies try to fight against it. 4. Many performers use drugs to dissociate. 5. Many are manipulated into doing PRN. RP is common. Don't learn how to FCK a girl from PRN. No female porn stars are really enjoying it. Most of the techniques are straight up BS. And no girl would like it. They even finger terribly inaccurate just cause it looks good on camera. I have one by one slowly non-suspiciously tried most of the common techniques they show in PRN with my GF and she didn't like any. Use either sources to learn how to have sex, not PRN. Many studies show that PRN is bad for men's brain chemistry. Girls in Bang Bus and Fake Taxi are paid actresses. The PRN industry directly fuels the human trafficking industry. Not really a secret. But John Waters once noted. No one goes into PRN because something good happened to them as a child. 2 girls 1 cup is fake. Popular PRN sites are full of videos of child RP. RPay, and revenge PRN. A lot of the time PRN sites will refuse to take these videos down, even when they're pointed out to them and reported. One example of this is Rose Kalemba, who was RP'd when she was 14, and videos of her RPay were uploaded to PRN Hub. But PRN Hub refused to take down the videos until Rose threatened them with legal action. The sheer amount of physical violence, sexual assault and RPay the actresses, and the actors and gay PRN are put through. Multiple actresses have come out and said that they have to do exactly as the producer tells them, even if it involves something they didn't consent to, or they don't get paid. In other words, they either get RP'd or they don't get paid. The average life expectancy of a PRN star is 37 years. Dying by suicide is disturbingly common. Edit. Apparently the 37 years is most likely false. But there are still a disturbingly large number of suicides among former and even current PRN stars. It's affecting your mental health the more you watch it in ways you probably can't imagine. The big sites like PRN Hub and XNXX don't give a shit as long as they're making money. A video of me being gang RP'd was uploaded to PRN Hub back in October and it still hasn't been removed. It's illegal to pay someone for sex if you film it, but it is illegal if you don't film it. Lemon thieves aren't really like that. Many of the Psy actresses you're watching are trafficked women who are filmed whilst being RP'd. There are also many counts of children and teens who have been sexually abused and RP'd having their videos uploaded to PH and them literally having to take legal action before PH removes the videos, allowing the site to profit off of child rapists and human trafficking. Every time you go into these sites, I hope you're remembering that this isn't some religious call asking you to save your souls. It's asking you to be decent enough to not support this abusive industry.